Solve each quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. If necessary, round answers to 2 decimal places. Check the answers in the original equation. The quadratic formula says that the solutions of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, as long as a is not equal to 0, are given by x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So if we have any quadratic equation that's in that general form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we can solve it through direct substitution into a formula. All right, so let's see a couple of examples of that. All right, first example, exercise A, we have 5x squared plus 11x minus 12 is 0. So we have A is 5, B is 11, and C is negative 12. So then the quadratic formula tells us then that x would equal negative 11. Notice how I'm substituting in parentheses. Plus or minus square root. Substitute 11 square. Minus 4. Substitute 5. Substitute negative 12. All divided by 2. Substitute 5. Every time you substitute, let's put in parentheses just to be safe. Now, to simplify this, well, the opposite of 11 is negative 11. Under the square root, following the order of operations, 11 squared is 121. And now, generally what we do is we sort of see how many negatives we have in the second term. We have the negative for the 4, and we have a negative for the 12, so 2 negatives, it'll give us a plus. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 12 is 240. Denominator, 2 times 5 is 10. Let's continue to simplify under the radical. We'd have negative 11 plus or minus the square root of 361 over 10. Now, the square root of 361 is 19. So we have then x is equal to negative 11 plus or minus 19 over 10. Now, it won't always work out nicely like that, but in this case it does. So now what we want to do is break this up into 2 solutions. So we have x is negative 11 minus 19 over 10. And x is negative 11 plus 19 over 10. So then x is negative 30 over 10. X is 8 over 10, and now we simplify each of those. X is negative 3. X is 4/5. All right, now we want to check these. So checking negative 3. 5 by negative 3 squared plus 11 by negative 3 minus 12 is this 0. 5 times negative 3 squared, that's 5 times 9 is 45, minus 33 minus 12, that's exactly 0. That checks out. 4/5. 5 times 4/5 squared plus 11 times 4/5 minus 12 is this 0. And of course, if you wanted to work with decimals here, you could. Just use a 0.8 instead. So let's see, 5 times 4/5 square is 16/5 plus 44/5 minus 12. 16 plus 44, that is 60. 60/5 is 12, and 12 minus 12 is 0. That checks out as well. And so I'm confident in my two solutions. In exercise B, we have 16x squared minus 16x is equal to 1. And since we're asked to use the quadratic formula, we want to get the equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So to do that, I will simply subtract 1 from both sides of the equation, yielding 16x squared minus 16x minus 1 is 0. And now I can use direct substitution into the quadratic formula. So then we would have x equals the opposite of substituting for b, plus or minus square root, substituting for b, square, minus 4 by substituting for a, by substituting for c, over 2 times substituting for a. Simplifying. The opposite of negative 16 is 16, plus or minus. Negative 16 squared is 256, minus another minus, that's going to be a plus. 4 times 16 times 1 is 64. 2 times 16 is 32. So 16 plus or minus the square root of 320 over 32. Alright, so now we want to simplify that square root if possible. So let's see, the square root of 320, well that's 64 times 5. So the square root of 320 is the square root of 64 times the square root of 5, and so that's 8 times the square root of 5. So then x is now equal to 16 plus or minus 8 root 5 over 32. Alright, and so now let's break this up into its two solutions. 16 minus 8 root 5 over 32. 16 plus 8 root 5 over 32. And we'll go ahead and find approximations on the calculator. 16 minus 8 root 5 divided by 32 is negative 0.06. And 16 plus 8 root 5 over 32 is approximately 1.06. Let's check these. Alright, so the first solution, negative 0.06. 16 by negative 0.06 square minus 16 by negative 0.06. Is this equal to 1? So that's 0.0576 plus 0.96 and 0.0576 plus 0.96 is 1.0176, which is approximately 1. So that checks out. And now the other solution, 1.06. 16 by 1.06 square minus 16 by 1.06. Is this equal to 1? Let's see, 16 by 1.06 square is 17.9776. And 16 by 1.06 is 16.96. I hope you can just see that that's pretty close to 1. Let's go through this. 17.9776 minus 16.96 is 1.0176, which again is approximately 1. That checks out, and I'm comfortable with my solutions.